Hello, hello. All right, so today is going to be more grunt work and just in the morning. And I wrote this note here about I need to take a call. So if my phone rings, I have, that wasn't super loud because it was loud for me. I have to answer my phone if it rings and someone's coming over to our place. And I don't know when. It's going to be one of those like we'll show up between 10 and 2, I assume. So if they say, oh, hey, it's going to be at 10 and I'm still streaming, then I need to end the stream when they come over. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate, but it is a necessity. And it's only too bad we couldn't set up a specific time ahead of time. So yeah, I hope everyone wants to just hang out. All right, so what we need to do is we need to get rid of every instance of localized messages. And some of these will be easy. Yeah, we have 227 of these. 227 instances of localized messages. And then we need to delete the source generators themselves. Where is this? Yeah, here it is. So this is the work that we're doing. Well, let's get to it. Okay, so this one's already gone. This one is very easy. Return, translate your zombies, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there we go. And I won't delete the using statements from here. I'll leave that to the, what is it, .NET format to do. So it'll highlight two of these lines yellow, and it'll just save us time not to have to do anything with it right now. I'm waiting for it to re-highlight everything. Yeah, so these two. It should get yellow squigglies. Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, so we're not going to do anything with that right now. All right, a lot of this is going to be pretty easy. In fact, all the display names can probably just be deleted. So this one, floating text, is here. This is going to be translate. I should probably just put on my clipboard. Paste. And then this is a little bit harder. In fact, let's go through those ones later, maybe. Yeah, I'll come back to these. I want to do just the easy ones for now. So all the display names should be done. Get damage header. Yeah, this is going to be translate damage. And translate throws a huge boulder at an enemy. Okay. Yeah, this is how this is going to go. Not much more to say about this. Although it now says, wait a second. Yeah, why does it say that there are fewer results now? 175 results. It said 227 or something. All right, I'll just say 175 instances, about that many. Hey, Alex. Good morning to you too. I am doing pretty well. I'm feeling good. We have to do this work. It's going to be boring work. Nothing much more to say about it. What's that button do? How do I get rid of these? Oh, there we go. Yeah, so this is mostly just a hangout stream. Then in the afternoon when I'm not streaming, I want to set up web late, actually get things working. In fact, when I set that up, I want to also make sure we can stop/start the Docker container and still have all of our data. May need a volume for that if the compose file doesn't already do something on that front. I think it should be fine. Yeah. The other thing I realize is I really should be taking breaks, and I should probably time them with ad breaks. So there's one coming up in 50 seconds. That's the first one of the stream. No one's really here during that time anyway. But every hour I should probably actually focus on taking a break. So yeah, maybe we do that. All right, translate. What is it supposed to be? Stealth? Yeah, nice. And then that's what we're leaving that one as. So we're done with that now. All right, good. All right, crush should be finished. Yep. Then floating text for disorient is going to be disorient. Yeah, this is where I expect the AI to catch up pretty quickly on what I'm trying to do here and make my job easier. Nice, yeah. So it's just fixing this stuff for me. Pretty cool. And we'll come through and fix the formatted ones. Hey, Krasner. Good morning, good morning. Try before and get the shut up peasant. This is my stream response. Maybe in a nicer way. Forgot what the context leading into that was. Tried before. I don't remember. I'm sorry. The response, you taking breaks. Oh, try to get me to take breaks. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Actually, usually I would say you're asking, did I take a break? Hey, player. How goes it? All right, so fireball. In fact, if we just get rid of that completely. Floating text burn, that goes here. All right, I mean, this is going pretty smoothly. This is the easy stuff, though. Yes, this one's done. Yeah, we're slowly getting through it. And then we'll do the harder ones in a bit. Wait, that was still being used? Get display name? Oh, it was. So this is the same thing, in which case I guess keeping it in one spot would make more sense, huh? Yeah, interesting. So now this string exists in two spots. Hey, Chef Alton. It goes sniffly. Weather's unpleasant. Grinding hard in the game to make it playable for Godot Fest. Oh no. Skeleseller's going pretty well. And 3D Extended, thanks for the resub. I wonder if the ad triggered that. Well, I hope you don't get sick for Godot Fest. That'd be a shame. No time for ad breaks. Never mind. Guess I got time for them. Hey, Strawn. Well, I guess you probably can't hear me. So I shall type my hey, guys. Oh, yeah. So something like this. I guess we could still store this in one spot. Like I could put a private static or private const string display name equals translate ice blast. This won't work though, right? How do I I gotta think of how to do this. So what I'm thinking of doing is here we return display name. And then here we return display name, but actually I don't think this will work. Expression being assigned to must be constant. Okay, static read-only string. Hides inherited member display name. Oh my god. I don't know. I don't know, maybe get display name. And maybe it should be like this. And we just return get display name for this. And this is a function returning a string. I had to figure out what pattern I want to use for this. Oh, actually, this one could be fine. This could have been this way the whole time, I think. I didn't even think about that. In fact, I guess we don't need this at all now. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, so that was one of them. No, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Okay. Lightning zaps, the display name should already be done. So now we just delete the rest of it. Basic attack, this should already be done. Delete all that. Yeah, some of this stuff will go quickly. And then we'll do our second pass for formatting, and hopefully that goes fast too. So now we got to find our get floating text, and it should know to replace this with translate crit. Hello? Hello? Maybe because it's not on my clipboard. Maybe by putting this on my clipboard, it actually knows how to do it. I think it does use that as a signal for what needs to be typed. All right, all these things are pretty much done. Floating text. Is it going to do it? It's not going to do it. There we go. Increase dodge, yeah. Then there's increased power. And this one says woof. Yeah. So how's everybody doing? You having a good week so far? You excited for the weekend? Anyone have any good plans? Because this weekend, I think we're going to play a board game at our friend's place. And it's apparently like a semi-complicated board game. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. We played a lot of Slay the Spire as a board game. And that's fun. But I've already liked Slay the Spire, and I know that. So I'm not certain how I will take a new game that I'm not invested in. Just dumped a ton of money on flights. Where are you flying? Spore cloud. The lag line. Hawaii, nice. Have you been before? This should just be display name. Nice. Summon zombie. That one's already done. Get floating text. Twice. My dad has a timeshare. Oh, cool. Yeah, so you already know you like it then, right? This is one of the few ones I actually changed myself already. So I think we're done with this one. No hotel costs, just flight and food. Yeah. I bet. I think timeshares are somewhat controversial. There's probably a set of people out there who are benefiting from them, who bought them, not who are selling them or something. But I wonder how many people like that exist. To me, it's always struck me as like a be very careful when looking into this. Not that I think we've ever even been in a timeshare presentation. All right, there we go. Get description, adventure, display name. Okay, interesting. We might need to change that too. Going a week before Christmas should be crazy. Yeah, flights then are kind of nuts because of how much Christmas travel there is. But yeah, I guess the best is when it's not your timeshare. So you don't really need to worry about the cost of it. And I think friends with timeshares just want them to be used a lot of the time. I get dodge header. It's not going to fill this in for me. Dodge bonus. All right. Well, like I said, this is pretty much the stream for now. And that's why I want to just chat with people. Can make this better for everybody. This is the time to ask me any questions you might have had. I could leave this to AI like I did yesterday, but it just took so long. I think it's the kind of thing I'd want to do if I were, whatever, watching a video on YouTube. But otherwise, I want to do this so that it's a little bit faster and I'm controlling it. Dad passed a couple years back. Stepmom has it, but he said we would get it. She's paying for it now. Oh man. Does it bring back memories of when you had gone originally? I'm guessing the last 2 times were with your dad. I guess it depends on the years. But yeah, I wonder how that changes a vacation. It's probably kind of nice actually. Although I don't know, maybe that's my romanticized view of it. Which is why I'm asking you, not just assuming. All right, we're making good progress for this stuff. Empowered spirits have a chance to use their abilities twice. Cool. That's one that's totally off the list for good. Dying blow. All right, duration and cooldown. Good. Yeah, just 141 of these left. Oh man. When you have the most health of all your party members. Cool. Yeah, anything that doesn't have formatted parameters makes this easy. Man. These are things that I'd love to use this exact same stack for whatever the next game is that I do, so that I can just benefit from all of this code that I've written. I've never really done that before. But yeah, it must be nice if you're a studio that's already invested in, let's say, Unreal Engine, and now you just benefit from all the code you've written, all the knowledge you've gained. And I don't see why I wouldn't use Godot for the next game that I make. Unless it requires something very specific, like it's a mega 3D game. But I don't think that's what I'm going to make next. A friend of mine joked with me that I can't play 3D games because I just prefer 2D games. I like some 3D games. It's not like it's just a no-go for me. Power Sphere. Hey, Lammy. Hey, Galaxy Inferno. Power bonus. Cool. Never works out for us. I think it can, though. I mean, especially in game dev. I think in web dev, it doesn't tend to work out, it feels like. Although I guess you could just have a tech stack that doesn't change too much. It all depends on what you depend on. Yeah. Last time I used up my flight points, impromptu weekend Hawaii trip, cost me $100. I'm glad points like that exist. That businesses are still incentivized to do that sort of thing. Because, yeah, it does make it more palatable. I'm glad we didn't spend more time changing a lot of these. But man, we really should have settled on all this stuff to begin with. 3D is 1D too many. That's just a fact. I like 2D games. I think that the zeitgeist seems to be steering toward 3D games. I don't know if that's true, though. But it seems like it. I haven't actually run any stats or anything. Hang on 1 second. I hear my phone making a sound. No, okay. ML stuff just changed a lot, but then a forecasting project is very different from a computer vision project. Never had a similar project close enough time-wise to be able to copy much. Yeah. I am really hoping I can get at least some of this benefit. Then again, even across technologies, there are still reusable aspects of knowledge. Like, don't save localization till the end. If you're pretty certain you're going to be making a game that's going to get launched, you should probably do this ahead of time. And it's the kind of thing that I knew, and I mean, I'm paying the price now, but it's not a gigantic price in my opinion. So that's the kind of thing that even if I were using, let's say, Unity, and I don't know, let's say we were using C++ or something, which I don't even know if you can use with Unity, that I would still at least know. All right, so this is power bonus. And the other one is number of allies. Wonder if I just hover over this long enough, it'll do something. Yeah. All right. Yeah, this is the first pass of this. Small typo, health increase instead of health. Heath increase. Oh, I see. Yeah, thank you. I definitely would not have noticed that. This actually is probably why I should put column headers all in the same. Like, I should probably be putting categories on some of these things. So this could be something like column header. And that way, if we ever saw multiple that looked like they said health decrease, it would indicate there's a problem. I wonder if I should do that. I'll write it down that we should probably put context for some of the translate calls, e.g. column, header, ability name, etc. Hey, Phil. COVID killed my points. Don't have much left. I definitely could not travel for work. Man, that's like a nightmare of mine. Every time we get back from a fun trip, I'm always like, well, that's it. No more traveling for me for like half a year. I just am not built that way. Try to tell you, but you shushed it. Yeah. And I'm not going to review this stuff either, so I just have to notice that there's a typo there at some point. I wonder if Weblate does something about that. I wonder if it can find like similar, it has nearby strings, but does it have like, this is too close to another string? It's probably a typo. Do you wonder about that? Unbothered by the fact that I live a suboptimal life. Well, I just kind of wonder, like, what 2D game could you take and make 3D and it'd be worse? And I'm not saying like a direct translation of it. Like if you took the original Zelda and just made it 3D, it wouldn't benefit much. You'd have to also translate the gameplay to 3D, probably, but I guess you don't have to do that. Just travel for 3 days, it was bad. These private traveling, you can be with your favorite people. Yeah, And I didn't mind the occasional, like once a year, I go from Washington down to California. That's not such a far flight, and it was pleasant enough. But yeah, the people who have to travel around the world, they're just a different breed of people. Maybe I should ask the AI to look into this. Oh, interesting. Press Command 1 or 2, it puts in the formatting parameter there. I don't want any of this open, so just leave that site. Maybe ask the AI to find any possible translate calls that may have a typo in them. I could just put them all in a file in Google Docs and use spell check. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. New jobs in Portland, production facility is Chicago. So those are my trips now. How far away for you are those? Please let me travel for you. I'll do it every day of the year. Imagine if this was a thing. Just travel in my stead. I'm in California. Okay, yeah. That's not too terribly bad then. All right, description, power bonus, and time reduction. So I just type translate, does it do this? Cooldown reduction. Should say time reduction. Although I actually do kind of wonder if it's a cooldown. Oh no, it is the time reduction. It's not a cooldown reduction. Just the initial cooldown. Okay. Going to Munich on Monday, yeah. GodotCon. I really want to hear how your experience goes there, Flair. Both in terms of just a spectator, a visitor of this convention, and as someone who's presenting there. Or has a game. I don't know if you're doing a talk or something like that. Huh. I just thought about this. We'll probably have some similar header titles for this. I do think the categories are going to be important. I'm going to write this down. Just going to hang out. Oh, interesting. Okay. I thought you'd have a stall or a booth or something. I didn't know they didn't even do that. That's kind of, I guess it makes sense. I guess all conventions eventually become something different from what the convention's about. They become career fairs or something, or just giant companies advertising. So maybe by keeping it away from that, there's no risk of it turning into it. Max chunk bonus and starting chunks. I wonder how many lines of code we've already deleted. Is there some quick way to check? Git diff short stat. Yeah, 249 deletions. Wow. Well, we're not even done. We're going to have more than that. All right, so translate cooldown reduction. Yay. Oh, hey, this one we can also change. Your spirits use their abilities more frequently, and then delete all of this stuff. They said they'll have a room to show off the game. I assume they don't make it official because 50% plus of the visitors would be showing the game. Maybe they accounted for that. This isn't the first GodotCon that's existed, right? So they might have some idea of how many people want to show a game. Then again, they might also just have underestimated it. Damage reduction bonus. Yeah, we'll get to formatting the rest of these at some point. That'll involve a little bit more thinking. This is mechanical, and I can do this without really thinking about it at all. But once we're done with these 119, I don't think it'll be mechanical anymore. Description for unlocked perk. That's not gonna work. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is description for unlocked perk needs to be a function returning a string. Am I right about this? I think so. Because if we just call translate at initialization time and then store this. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be a problem. I want to ask something, but I might dox you if my guess is right. All right, this is fine. Yeah, so we can't do anything else here yet. This is probably gonna happen a lot. Yep. All right, the description for this shows up here. 5 dud perks can appear as choices. The rest of this is done. I was gonna say if Twitch DM doesn't work, Discord DM might. I think you're both in at least one of the Discords. Skeleseller or Adam Learns, I'm not sure which. I wonder how many, like, there's been a problem with Discord spammers lately. Someone joins Discord and then somewhere up to 2-3 days later, they'll then just spam every single channel with a message. I wonder how much that's on the rise. Like, I haven't seen many people join Discord lately. All right, there we go. I actually want to watch a little bit more Twitch in the next month or two and just kind of see how have things changed in the last year. Because this stream has been kind of dying. And I'm okay with that. But I want to know, is this a Twitch-wide thing? Or is this happening to everybody? And I'm not saying as of like the last week. I know what I'm doing is boring here. I don't blame people for not watching this. This is not fun or interesting. But yeah, I wonder how much of it has to do with long projects too. Or this idea of creating a honeypot channel. Yeah, that's what I plan on doing. I just haven't done it yet. And it's one of the problems where it's like, I'd love to not have to do it because I'm gonna have to go code something and it's probably not that hard to do, but I need to test it out. And what happens if someone accidentally does post there? And it's like the platform has a spam problem. And they probably catch these individual people after some time. But if they don't catch it immediately, then it's just a disruption to everyone who's already in the Discord. All right, so yeah, a lot of these are as done as they can be right now. All right, all of skeletons except for you leave town. You can still recruit new ones. This isn't even used anywhere in the game right now. This is done. Yeah, these ones are easy. Nice. I'm glad there's a string of easy ones. Additional adventures. Oh, there's a description here too. We can change that. Your town starts with some adventures provided to you. The selection is random. Looks good. Another friend who's in IT came back from a Munich business trip. Turns out it was just a very wild coincidence. Okay. I mean, I imagine there are a lot of business trips to Munich. But that would be very funny if that's how you found out. Oh, nice. Your town starts with some buildings provided to you. The selection is random. Nice. It's very cold and dark. All right, these it should be able to do. Good. It's learning. It's not learning from this one, though. Cool. Number of perks. Distribute random. Oh, this won't work. We can't do that one yet. But we can get rid of the number of perks thing now. And even notes won't work. This one's a leg up. Yeah. There's a lot of this grunt work I'm going to do off stream at some point. Nice, nice. Like this, for example. This message needs to be localized. And it's probably not going to be too terribly tough to figure out how I'm going to do that. But like, I need to spend the time. It'll probably be a minute or two. I got to do that for everything. Oh well. I think after this week we can get back to like regular content. Tomorrow's the big question mark for me because I don't know how much interesting stuff we can do on stream. Yeah, I don't think there's very much. Yeah. So I got to figure out what we're doing tomorrow. In fact, maybe I'll write that down for the list. Figure out what we're even doing today. Localization stuff should probably be reserved for off stream or yeah. Is any of this even used? Yeah, it is. Well, it's not really nothingness amount. Why doesn't translate exist? Oh, because we never imported it. We did for the other things. Description does nothing. Aren't these used somewhere else? No, maybe not. Basic nothing, extra nothing, and the most nothing. None of this shows up anymore. I deleted this whole thing. Oh well. All right, lots of these abilities are at least easy to fix. Chance, and your workers have a chance to buy items that they pick up. Cool. I don't think we have another trip planned for a little while, but my wife is going to be on a trip in November to visit her family, and that's when I'll be home alone. No. I've got like a whole list of things that I have planned for then. I want to make some more YouTube videos. I want to like work on the game. I don't want to get totally lost in work stuff though. I also need to balance it out with some healthy things. But I need to like convince myself to do the healthy things. Which is why I have the to-do list ahead of time. Sometimes I'll actually set up social plans ahead of time too. But it's not the same. Crit chance sludge bonus looks good. All right, well, we're down to 87 of these left, which means we've gone through half of it. So if we can keep up this same pace, well, actually, this isn't even true. 87 instances left for the straightforward ones. This is just the first pass. Okay, never mind. This is still going to take a while. Oh well. What are you going to do? It's necessary work. I guess not stream it. Oh, man. Yeah, like I said, I think tomorrow we'll probably move back to non-localization stuff, and I'll just save this for off stream. Because if I'm going to be streaming, I want it to either be something that's interactive or something that's interesting. And this is neither. Hey, Memphis. How you doing? Yeah, man. It's a lot of this stuff. All right, well, we're back to another straightforward one at least. So expanded armor shop and a description. Where's the description? This gets passed in here. What is this? Is this just a string that goes to... Where does this go? I don't think this will work. Player ability more shop displays. I gotta write this down. Player ability more shop displays is special. The description needs to be a function, probably. Pretty cool that you have these stream VODs going all the way back to the beginning. Last night I was watching some of the very early ones just to see what it was like when you were getting started. Yeah, it looks so different in terms of the game, right? In terms of coding, yeah, there was a lot that wasn't done yet. There were a lot of little issues that we had to solve. Now I feel like we're building on all of the hard work that was done. And that feels nice. And that we don't have to do all of this hard work again. Translate item displays. All right, now we need the using statement here. Cool. What is this one? Player ability, more warehouse storage. There's the description. Okay, this one should be straightforward then. I'm glad I keep those VODs around. Very few people get any benefit from them. Like some people, when I'm on vacation, will go watch them, or just to get more VOD content, to watch them when I stop streaming. But it's very rare. I know of like probably fewer than 10 people over the years who've done that sort of thing. Still, it's nice as an archive. Apparently, there's some... Hang on one sec. Okay, yeah. Apparently there's something that keeps happening at YouTube. Some like new exec will join and be like, hey, we should delete all of the old videos that people have on YouTube. And it always eventually gets shot down. But I wonder if there's some day when it won't get shot down and people will just be like, yeah, we need to delete all the old videos. They're just taking up tons and tons and tons of storage. And it is taking up tons of storage. But then I wonder if I'm going to need to like keep my videos online somehow or pay for them. It is probably terabytes of information at this point. Not even probably, it is terabytes of information. And I'm, you know, kind of sort of getting that storage for free. But it would be a shame to lose like 7,000 hours of video. I look at it as it's a benefit for right now. It's a treasure that they've kept it around for this long. But someday that won't be the case. Hey, Sarah. They'll delete it and have AI create it again when needed. Man, wouldn't that be crazy? I mean, in that case, this is one of the things that a lot of people are talking about online right now is dead internet theory. Like, have we gotten to the point where there are more humans, or sorry, more bots than humans online? And like, what does that mean for humans who are trying to consume things on the internet? And what does it mean for the future of content creation or for content consumption? Like, if you couldn't trust that what you were reading is from a human, I guess here's a question I asked my wife the other day, because she browses Instagram and TikTok. And sometimes it's for cat videos and sometimes it's for, I don't know, looking at stuff that her friends do. And I asked, what if you knew, you launched TikTok and it said, there are no more humans on this platform. Everything you see is a synthesized video by AI. Like, how would that change your experience? Would you still go on it? Because they'd be exactly the same videos. Like, this is the hypothetical at least. But is knowing that everything is AI, is knowing that detrimental to your experience? And in my opinion, it is. But yeah, I think different people might have different opinions for that. Building a multiplayer game with my own engine for a while now, but that's a pretty huge task. Playing using Rust, so it's been helpful to have a huge backlog of content. Yeah. And C# I think is at least kind of more supported in Godot. My external view of Rust game development is that it's slower than regular game development. Now, I recognize that you'd get all of the Rust benefits at build time, but I wonder if that's the most important thing for a game. And I think it really depends on what your goals are. And also, that's my external viewpoint. Maybe the internal viewpoint is totally different and that it doesn't slow anyone down. So we can call translate on all of these, but we wouldn't be reforming them. So I guess NPC names need to be changed. Same with NPC names. Yeah. Hey, Franken. Getting more difficult by the day. Oh, it's getting more difficult by the day to recognize a video is made by AI or not. Yeah, I've been browsing Hacker News more than normal lately, and I'm seeing a rise in comments there saying something like, this is AI slop about AI or something along those lines. And then the author of the article will come in and say, this isn't AI. I wrote this. And then the commenter's like, oh, well, sorry about that. Yeah, I'll give it another read or something. And okay, at least they're pleasant about it. But like this comment about, I think this was made by AI, when apparently, and there's no way of knowing this for sure, I guess, but apparently a human wrote it. It's like a little bit scary. Like, what happens when you're, I don't know, in a legal setting or something like that, and you have video footage of something happening, and someone's like, we can't trust that this video footage is actual footage. You might have just created this. And the thing I've always been saying is, in the past, you could fake anything already. It just took more work. So I've heard actually family members say the same thing. My family members say this thing of like, you won't be able to trust anything. And I was like, look, if I photoshopped something in the past, or I'm not a good enough video editor, but look at any Marvel movie. You've got like superheroes destroying buildings and stuff, and it looks pretty real. Yeah, if you went frame by frame, maybe you could detect that, like, oh, there's the CGI they used. You know that it's CGI though, and yet it still looks like a building is crumbling or that someone's shooting a laser out of their hands. And you didn't think that that was like, oh God, this is going to destroy the fabric of society. But yeah, once it's in everybody's hands, I guess that's when it becomes a problem. Hey, Datina. You can still see or feel if it's made by AI, but it's only a matter of time that will change as well, I'd say. Well, and with text, it's especially hard because this is very common that you see blobs of text that are this large on the internet, right? It happens on Reddit, it happens on Twitch, it happens on Discord. And if you just read this, would you know that it's AI or not? Like, could Flair have been an AI this entire time? Probably. Hey, Elijah. What are you looking for with the document? I can probably help you find it. Hey, Sarah. Once the average person gets power, then we have a problem. Keep it in the hands of the few. So, yeah, I recognize the sarcasm in that. I guess what I'm trying to say is we had this ability to fake things before. And hang on, before I mess this up. You do not have an extractor yet. Build a farm or fishing pond to be able to drop up potions. Yeah. All right, we had the power to be able to do this before. Oh, this is the wrong translate. But yeah, now it is very easy to access. Wait, can't I call TR for this? I wonder if that's going to be a problem. I guess not. That's another thing I have been checking for is when can I call TR and when can I call translate? Maybe see if we can call TR where we called translate. It just saves some characters. Yeah, Albican and hey, Moogle. Where can I find the doc? What doc? If you're talking about the localization one, that's not available, but the to-do, whoops, sorry. I meant to type to-do. The to-do doc is available. I'm not sure, or maybe my notes. I'm not sure what you're looking for exactly. There's a song in the top 50 that's been made by AI, like completely. Yeah. Yeah, and hey, Sarah. It's going well. No EM dashes, no emojis. No, it's not just X, it's Y. Seems legit. I use EM dashes all the time. And I even have an EM command, and I've had this for years. And now that people are like, well, that shows that you're AI. I was like, I've been using these forever. All right, so what is it supposed to say? The chef slime only accepts food and potions, which will be placed in the extractor. Yeah. And let me turn this into TR. Cool. Yeah, the to-do. Yeah, it's a couple links up then. There you go. The most beautiful tool in the English language. You know, a while ago, there was a group of synesthetes that apparently voted on what is the most beautiful English word, just in terms of the sound to your ear, not in terms of what it represents. And I guess they voted on cellar door. Or I guess this is 2 words technically. Well, maybe there's no space in some cases. But yeah, just those sounds are beautiful to those listeners. And I've always thought about this. Like, what is the most beautiful sound in English? So yeah, what is the most beautiful punctuation mark? Cache. Cellar doors 10/10 sound. Oh man, I find it funny. Not enough mana. All right, and this is a node, so I guess we can use TR. Okay, we gotta keep doing this. This spell requires the extractor. This spell requires the extractor. Get rid of that. And then this is already active. That spell is already active. Is that what that says? Yes. Okay, so now we delete all that. Pontificate. Hey, Kevin. And hey, Alex. My wife's laugh is probably the best sound. It's got to be English. It can't just be ha 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 ha. Gormless? Gormless. I like the ORML sound, I guess. Ormla. Ormla. And the S. I don't know about the G at the beginning, though. Maybe wormless is better. Wormless. Started working as a software developer this year. Do you have any tips on how I can become a better developer? I have a lot of general tips for this sort of thing. I think one is pay attention to like how you're doing things. Are you using AI? Are you using tutorials? Are you leaning on other people? Are you trying to improve? Because in general, I think what you need as a software developer is the ability to learn and grow and try different technologies out. And if you were asking like, hey, what are the best C++ tips? I might have some tips for you. But in general, you will not just be using C++ your whole career. You won't just be doing game dev your whole career, web dev. You'll probably shift around a bit or need to touch other areas of things. So it's how you do these things that are going to be important. And I think especially for newbies, don't be afraid to ask questions and just be careful about those questions. So like do some research beforehand and be careful not to do too much. It's like that line in Ocean's 11 where he's like, you know, be clever, but not too clever. Be memorable, but he's got to forget you the moment he leaves the room. When you're asking other people questions, you can be an annoyance. And it goes in both ways. It's like I'm asking for every little thing, or I have researched for an entire day and I haven't come to a conclusion. And it's like, look, we could have unblocked you sooner than that. So I think my biggest pieces of advice are around just pay attention to what your workflow is and how you're getting better. And at any given point, maybe you should look back by like 6 or 12 months and think, have I learned in that time or have I improved? And the answer should be yes. It should be a resounding yes. You should be able to look back and think like, yeah, oh yeah, I'm definitely better than I was. And at some point in your career, maybe after 5 or 10 years, maybe you look back like 2 or 3 years at a time. Because in any given 6-month period, it's possible you were just, you know, head deep in work and you were focused on that. I feel like you'd have to have non-English speakers taking that test or voting. I'd be biased based on knowing the meaning of the word. Yeah. Like I said, it was from synesthetes who, what's the proper... It's a person with synesthesia, which is like basically a mix-up of your senses. So you might see sounds or hear colors. And yeah, in this case, it was like, I think it's just like a gut reaction. You process the sound rather than you process the meaning of the word. Yeah, I think finding mentors is really good too. And I also think being a mentor for other people is good if you're interested. I think it can sometimes bolster your own knowledge or how you look at things. Build enchanters den. And then this one, wait a second, what did I just translate? Get build enchanter. Build enchanters den, good. And then this is enchanter's den. This is the description. Allows you to cast spells. And then the enchanter name is again the enchanter's den, apparently. Yeah, so now we can delete all of this. What does this inherit from? Signpost. And this is probably, yeah, node. So we can just change all of these to be TR. By the way, this is a very, very rarely used shortcut for me. But if you middle click and drag, you can select the box of characters. And in this case, I wanted to delete these to just be TR. But when it's handy, it's handy. All right, get machine name is used all over the place. I'm going to just save this one for later. I want to get through some of the easier ones here. All right, so get build farm. That is going to be build farm. And then farm allows you to grow crops that can level up your adventurers. And farm again. Cool. Where's the category thing? TR calls. Yeah, there we go. Doesn't even have to be an active mentor. Found picking someone real to emulate helps in making realistic goals. Yeah, I think there's a whole category of people learning to do things just because they realized it was possible. And I see this happen in a lot of different realms. Even in video games, for example, it's like someone discovers a technique for speedrunning or for competitive gaming, and now it's like, oh, that's possible, and now other people want to go pursue it. And in that case, you might not have known it was possible to begin with just because no one knew it was possible. But as a better example, maybe like organization, like note-taking. Everyone knows that you can write notes. It's something you start doing in school, but some people don't apply it to their day-to-day lives, or they don't apply it to their work. And I've heard this of people who come to the stream a lot here. They say like, oh, wow, you're taking a lot of notes, or I'd love to do this. How do I get started? And it's like just seeing me do that lets people think, how could I benefit from that too? And I think that's happening in a pretty frequent basis. And it's all about exposing yourself to different ideas. So build fishing pond. And then the rest of these should be automatic. Fishing pond allows you to catch fish that can level up your adventures. Yeah. All right, guild master. The guild does not accept that type of item. Cool. Yeah, this got a lot slower. This is probably going to take me a couple of like weeks of off-stream work, I think, of just slowly chipping away at these. Is retiring next year and living the life a realistic goal? Asking for a friend? Yeah. You get promoted mid-year and then promoted in the next quarter and then promoted one more time and then wait 4 years for your stock to vest? Yeah, you bet. Hey, yourself. I think since I began watching you, I've taken more advantage of keyboard shortcuts. It's become kind of a skill check for me. Yeah, and ideally it's providing some kind of value. I think there are techniques you'll see someone use, or just any behavior you see someone adopt that it doesn't make sense to you or it's not going to benefit you. All right, regular. Flee the battle. There's no penalty for fleeing. Flee the battle. There's no penalty for fleeing. Okay. Cool. And then that says what? End the fishing session. Any fish still in the battle will return to your pond if there's room. Nice. Cool. So those are deleted. Now this is toggle auto repeat for this battle. Oh, I don't want to change that one yet. Yeah, it's got current state on or off. You cannot auto repeat elite battles. And there we go. Will tell my friend. Okay, good. Thanks for the answers. Senior at work is really annoying. He talks like, how dare you not know this or that? I started to do projects at home after work, but it feels like I'm really behind in tech. Okay, so all I have is your message to go off of, but this is a case where it's really, really hard to tell. Like, is that senior a jerk, or should I be asking better questions? And it's like I said, I can't tell from here. And it could be a combination of the two. It could be like they're now frustrated because of the questions you were asking. It could be that they're just a jerk, full stop, and they are frustrated by you not knowing things, and now it feels like you're their responsibility. So it could be anything. But that's why I at least say try to be cognizant of could you be doing something better? I'm not trying to like victim blame here. Again, I don't know the situation completely. I'm just saying that you will encounter other people who they are more patient and they're more willing to answer, but yet they still have limits. And it's worth it to not try to push those limits. It's all obsidian. I started hot and heavy, but kind of slacked off. Yeah, I think that's... I look at note-taking almost like how I look at spiciness when it comes to eating food. Like, everyone wants their own level of spiciness. And for some people who want spicy food, it's like, take wherever you are on that scale of what you can handle and push it just a little bit beyond there. And for note-taking, I think it's kind of similar. It's like, there's a scale of note-taking where it's like no notes and writing everything down. And you need to find out what is ideal for you to provide value and then stick around that point. So for me, I tend to err on the side of taking a lot of notes, but hey, it's provided value for me in the past. And it's just kind of how I operate at this point. But yeah, for other people, it's like you might find that you're here and you're happy. I don't think taking any notes is probably good for most people. I think some amount of notes would be good. I'm still quite confused on your note taking. Oh, hang on a second. I will be right back in a bit. Sorry, yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I was supposed to get a phone call. What is going on? Yeah, I was supposed to get a phone call, and anyway, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's it. Sorry, I would have been able to put up a BRB screen, but I needed to answer this. Anyway, let me see what I missed in chat. I'm still confused on your note taking. I'm not the best note taker. Don't know how is it beneficial, or at least why do you think it works for you? So I think the short answer for this is the sort of high level benefits. And one is it reinforces knowledge as you learn it to take notes. Two is you can share it with other people. And the final thing is you can reference it later. And all of these things have helped me in the past. So learning something, it's like, oh yeah, I wrote that down. I remember it better. Sharing it with other people. A lot of times people have asked me, hey, how do you do this? And I'm just like, here's my note on it. And I use it for myself in the future where I had a bug and I was like, what happened? How did I fix this the last time? And I look at my notes. Yeah. I'm annoyed by this because I even I even wrote it in my today command. It says right here. I have to, anyway, whatever. Whatever. Well, I guess I will change this command then. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, again, sorry about the delay. All right, so where do we leave off here? Is it worse to not call and show up or not call and not show up? Definitely the latter. Like I'm happy enough that this is being done because it needed to be done. Yeah, okay, so this one's done. At least for now. All right, you were not on a quest. Is this a TR kind of thing? I don't actually know yet. And then you have already turned in all item name needed by this quest. We can't do that one yet. Anyway, we can't do the last one yet. All right, that's okay. Yeah, I'm realizing as I start to do all of this, how much work needs to be done for this. This afternoon, I won't be streaming, but I want to work on setting up Weblate so that I can get community translations. But when I have a lot of time, I'm just going to need to go through all these and fix all these up. It's going to take a while. All right, any parameterized ones here? No. That item display doesn't accept that type of item. Cool. An item is currently traveling to that display. And the last one is that item display already has an item. Okay, cool. Whew, 56 more of these. This is going to be another problem. Player ability tree. Same with player ability tree and the title name. All right, so we can't really do this one yet. Recycler sign, this one we can do for sure. TR. This is summon garbage slime. And then, oh my God, come on. It should, yeah, it's not gonna do it. All right, fine. Garbage slime. Maybe if I just delete these, it'll do it. No, it doesn't. Needs items in exchange for gold. Oh, fine. Just make the change myself. How community translate the game back into my native language, which I barely remember at this point. Do you think you will actually put it in your native language? Like, do you think enough people would play in your native language? All right, the shop doesn't accept that kind of item. Oh, maybe that's why this didn't work. So this is the shop. Doesn't accept that type of item, and the shop is full. Okay. I'll be right back. Sorry, this is the follow-up part of this. Okay. All right, I told him I was in a meeting, and so he just said everything's okay. I am going to take a break. I'm going to try to time my breaks so the ad breaks. So one starting in 20 seconds. So let's kick off the regular break here. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hello again. Close the game. So let me read chat here. I think no one will play it except maybe my parents. I'll not translate it. Yeah. It's a weird relationship where I can evaluate if a translation makes sense, but actually doing it would take me forever. Close one. Yeah, I didn't watch, so I can't evaluate. But good job, everyone. All right, so maybe later is here. But maybe later exists in a whole bunch of different dialogues, right? Maybe later. Yeah. We gotta consolidate these all somewhere. Maybe make like a common. I don't know what I'm gonna do for that. But yeah, this is in a lot of spots. Consolidate many of the common strings. You can find these easily by looking through the .pop file for many .cs instances for one message. It was riveting. It probably was. Max level label, max? This isn't even used? Oh, maybe it's used somewhere else. Yeah, it is used somewhere else. I don't want to deal with anything that's not super easy right now. So we just won't. Oh, that's a lot of translated stuff. Okay, so before unlocking challenge mode, this just says play game. Play game, and they're both capitalized. Yeah. And then after it says story mode. Story mode. Okay. Saved game found. Cool. I don't know what happened there. Actually, I should probably just undo that. Don't try to belittle my glorious victory. What is going on? Jeez. All right, there. You have a town saved already. That's here. You have a town saved already. Do you want to start a new game or continue the existing one? Is that what that says? Yes. And this is, you have a bone mode run saved already. Do you want to start a new run or continue the existing one? Cool. Unspent upgrade points. Cool. You've not spent any of your upgrade points. Not going to do that. All right, new file just says new game. This says continue game. Then open upgrades and start anyway. Cool. All right, we got rid of a bunch of those. Although there is a problem here, which is this. Get open upgrades. What was that supposed to be? Huh. I guess it was supposed to be this. Let me just make sure of that by going into the what's on main and go and look at the title screen. Title screen.cs. Okay. The guy who came over was still just there outside our place in his truck, and I wanted to make sure that he was gone. What if he watches the stream? What if he knows? All right. All right, so complete bone mode runs to unlock innate upgrades. These unlocks can alter which perks show up during a run or make some perks more powerful. Complete show up during a run or make them more powerful. And you have earned all unlockable perks already. Yeah, nice. Cool. Let me search this guy on Twitch to see if he's lying. No. I was saying he was already a fan of the stream. And then he tried to play it cool. Like he didn't know who I was, you know? That's the much more reasonable explanation. The warehouse is full. Oh man, okay. I'm starting to question whether I should be doing any of this right now. Let me see if I weren't doing this, what I would be doing instead. Because it might not be much. Stabilize, fix bugs, allow for using locations, prune the demo, make a new trailer, achievements, final cutscene, figure out a launch date, add content, add more bosses. I guess we also have the challenge mode list, right? What was on that? I think we got this down to like 1 page. Yeah. Yeah. Fine. I'm just going to continue what I'm doing. But yeah, I think this is going to be the last day of this. So tomorrow we'll figure something out. All right, so this is build warehouse. Then we get the name and allows you to store items without them disappearing. Also causes items to spawn on the ground or in the warehouse if there's space as opposed to on the ground. Yeah. And then there's upgrade warehouse. So this won't work. We need a string dot format delta to be equal to this. I want some of these lines. Is there a way to do that? I guess we just copy paste it. There. And then for delta, we do string dot format. Allows you to store this game constants dot num warehouse. Okay, that's not bad. Now we delete that and then upgrade menu text. What does that say? Warehouse storage. There, perfect. So now why is this a problem? Does not contain a constructor that contains 5 arguments. What did I mess up? Shouldn't it be 4 things? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, because I put a comma at the end? Okay. All right, so now none of these should exist anymore. Doesn't. Yeah, cool. I'm still sort of debating on whether this looks cleaner. I think it does. I think the only thing that I don't like is when we have a repeated string and we literally just repeat it in code. What's going to happen is it'll export it to a file and just put both of these line numbers there. So I can actually show this. If we just run this, it's going to generate all of the different names, and it's taking a little bit longer now. And then if we go look at this and we search for warehouse, we see this here. And you can see it shows up in 3 spots. 2 in this file, actually 3 in this file. 1, 2, 3, yeah. So this is what will let us know that in code, we could also have extracted these out to be the exact same thing. All right, well, let's keep going. So what does this inherit from? Margin container, which means this can be turned into TR. This just says dismiss. Dismiss title, perfect. Removing them, huh? Yeah. Yeah, and it's a very, very involved process. Well, sorry, let me make it clear. It's a tedious process that is very long. It's not very difficult. And it actually does lend itself well to AI, and I'll probably use that more off stream. Perks you choose won't take effect until you hire them, yeah. Please entertain me. Well, that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to talk about some things instead. So what's on your mind, Matt? You're still working toward that launch in a couple weeks, right? Hey, didn't I already fix this? I did fix this. So these aren't used anywhere then, are they? Tooltip text. No, they are not. Nice. There's so many strings. So many strings. Yeah, to some extent, I kind of see this like... Oh, what's this? I see this almost like an RPG. Like you're grinding, just farming mobs somewhere. You get 1 skill point on every even numbered level. Yeah, so we'll put skill points label tooltip equals TR. You get 1 skill point every 2 levels. Skill points can be used, blah, blah, blah. No, this is what it should say. Yeah, and then we put this for both of these. And now that's no longer used, right? Cool. 2 weeks, created 2 mini games, and now I'm revamping a third really awful one to be less awful. Probably doesn't matter much. We're in a dying industry, but I like doing fun things. Well, the business is still afloat, right? I think a dying industry still needs some players in it, and hopefully there's enough money for your company to stay alive. MMORPG known as indie game dev. The only MMO part is with the consumers. If only I had like 1 million people working on the game. When will they re-release IGD Classic? Indie Game Dev Classic, or you do without an engine in 15 years' time? Yeah, but it was grindier. You had an assembly skill that you had to get to level 99. Hey, Black Shift, removing source generators is a good clickbait. I mean, that is what we're doing. This is all fodder for a source generator to make functions like this, which is get unlocked skill points by defeating elite. So this is the generated code that we have here. So all of these functions are just simple wrappers around translate functions in the first place. And yet we probably don't need any of them anymore. It's just not growing. Actually, lots of places are slowly closing up shop. Bad economy makes it worse for sure. Yeah. Yeah, any entertainment stuff I think is subject to that. It's like if you're going to cut spending, you're going to cut it on the lowest of the low discretionary spending. Why didn't they work? They worked. So here's basically what the source generators would do for us for localization. We would make a class like, trying to think of where there's a good example still. Maybe Fireball has one. Yeah, so here's a good example of it. And now we just got to find that tab that I had. Yeah, so this would be in like fireball.cs. And then this would generate, that would generate a get description method that we could call like this. And what this let us do is validate that you passed in all of the named parameters that would have existed in the source formatting string. So that's what the source generator was responsible for. And it also gave a little semantic name for what it was you were replacing. So here it's damage, which is obvious because the word that follows it is damage. But what you could have said is like num damage or something like that, as opposed to something like damage element. So you could have made this a little bit clearer of like, what is this thing looking for? But those two things are kind of all it did for us. It validated the number of parameters, and it gave a contextual name to the params. What we're changing to is that this whole thing will just be turned into description equals tr hurls a fiery ball, and you would just type in something like this. So yeah, there was a lot of boilerplate for us to be able to use source generators, and then a lot of code that was for the source generators. We have many files for it, and now it's all going to be replaced by basically one line. All I heard is Adam hates my code. Yeah, I feel really bad about this because this couldn't have been easy, and it's the only source generator we had, which means I want to keep a reference to it at some point. Was this at runtime or was it static analysis? So as a source generator, it would generate the code actually before build time. These things can run as you're writing your code. So as an example here, if I were to, at least I think they run as you're writing your code. Maybe I did need to build. So I put private const string foo here equals bar. Then up here, I should be able to now call get foo. And this should go to a function. I might need to build for it to do that. Yeah. But anyway, that's what it would do. It would generate a function that I could call at runtime if I wanted to, but it's generating it at build time. What does tr do under the hood? What tr does is it basically takes a string and it says, in your locale, what should that string render as? And it looks, in English, it's going to be foo, and in Spanish, it's going to be bar, and in French, it's going to be baz, and so on and so forth. So all it's doing is it's a translate call. And then there's a special form of it called trn, which given a singular and a plural string and a number of foos that you have, will either return the singular or the plural string. It actually is code gen. Just trying to find it out for you. What do you mean? Trying to find it out for me? So runtime or static analysis? Yeah. Source generator, the source that they're talking about is code. That's the C# term for it, at least. At least I'm pretty sure. Yeah. But yeah, we're not going to be using this anymore. And I think it's going to make the code a little bit cleaner. Oh, and so, okay, wait, I didn't close the loop on that. Let me finish closing the loop on that. So we got two benefits from this. It validated the number of parameters. We now have an analyzer that will do this for us. So it will detect if there are errors. And the contextual name, we just don't have this anymore. So now instead of seeing damage, you'll now see just a 0 there. So if we needed context for this, we'd have to write something like I18N, like FYI, damage is a number, not an element like fire. And then that'll show in the translation file. I don't think this is going to be necessary, but if it ever is, then we'll just start doing it. So yeah. So we're changing some of this stuff, but there are actually many tasks that we have here. One is like, and this is what we're doing today, remove code generators. 2 is localize every string in the code base. And yeah, I said this is a task for off stream at this point. I'll continue working on this for another maybe like hour and a half or whenever I start getting super bored. But then I'm going to move on to other things off stream for this. Good test to just play the game in a different language. If we had another language here. We have some Spanish translated. All right, let's get this back on my clipboard. What does this one say? Whoops, that's not what I wanted. It is defeat the next elite enemy to be able to level up. Okay, defeat next elite enemy to be able to level up. This one is build a farm to unlock skill leveling. That's not what it should say. Build the farm to be able to level up. There. And then this is get level up via sludge. Use wisdom sludge to level up. Cool. So none of those should be used anymore. Good, good, good. All right, this ability is unlocked, is automatically unlocked at level. We can't change this one yet. Level up using wisdom sludge to unlock your skills. Oh, wait, we had 2 of these? Why do we have 2 of these? Adventurers panel tab? Let me go take a look at that. Is it just a dictionary of sorts with a key as the full English string? Yeah, it's provided by Godot. So the way Godot probably implements it is by looking up in a dictionary of your locale or maybe some kind of caching. Isn't it the Godot str? Yeah, it is. All right, so we had 2 of these apparently. And the one that I'm not seeing is unlock skills by leveling up. Where is that? There. Level up using wisdom sludge. Huh, that doesn't exist. Oh, I must not have deleted that when I added the other things. Okay, that's fine. Anything else I can get rid of? Use wisdom sludge from the chef slime to level up. The sludge cost increases with each level. Use wisdom sludge from the chef slime to level up. The cost increases with each level. Oh, it says the sludge cost. Okay. And then what's this one? The adventurer is already at maximum level. Do we use this multiple times? No, we don't. The adventurer is already at the maximum level. And then what is this? Acquire more wisdom sludge from the chef slime to level up. Acquire more wisdom slime from the chef sludge from the chef slime. Yeah, I said that backwards. Just speak one language. Oh man. This is one of those things that if it were already the case, it'd probably be nice. But getting to that point would wipe out so much of culture and history. Yeah, why can't I just use emotes to express everything I might ever want to say? Why is there no emote for Skeleseller? Just the entirety of the game. That's the emote. It's what you feel after playing 5 hours of Skeleseller. All right, so this is town perks, level up perks, build and hire. Town perks. And it should know how to change the other ones now. Oh, no, put that back. Yeah, there. Level up perks, build and hire. Cool. Culture and history probably needs to be translated into a new singular language. Man, can you imagine? You're trying to learn about something and you have to like look through a Git version history of what did the language mean and what did the culture mean at that point. It'd be nuts. All right, so what is this? Battle map, adventurers, perks, and buy. The last one should just say buy. It says buy perks though. What? I don't know where this even gets used. Buy perks panel tab. Oh, I know where it is. Okay, never mind. I was picturing a different dialogue. Yeah. All right, we're fine with that. Isn't that already a thing, etymology? Well, yes, it is. But there was no like concerted effort to get us all onto one language across the entire world. That was just the natural evolution of languages. But imagine if there's an unnatural, like we are stomping out languages X, Y, and Z. And cultures, I guess, too. Although I guess that's kind of just anthropology at that point. All right, so this is town, TR town. The rest of these should be easy enough to figure out. Let's say town perks. Oh, it kind of figured it out. Oh, wait, was that supposed to say town perks? Oh, it is. Okay, my bad. I'm not even paying attention. No, it's not. It is supposed to say town. All right, well, let's just find out what the rest of these are supposed to say. This is probably garbage slime. Yeah, garbage slime. And it should know how to change the rest of these. Cannot convert from... Is it going to complain about string names here? Oh, I don't have a parenthesis. Okay, fishing, farming, enchanter, treasure, and all. Fishing, farming, enchanter, treasure. And I think the last one's just supposed to say all, not all perks. Then we can delete all of those. And then these are supposed to be town perks. Hey, Codex. Well, would you expect us all to reasonably be on one unified language? Maybe never, and we just have LLM auto-translate tech. Yeah, I don't see it ever happening in the future. I think if one country somehow dominated the world, it could happen. But short of that, I don't think it would happen. Because I think there's too much momentum for each language right now. But we have seen some languages get snuffed out just by virtue of them no longer being spoken. And actually probably not even that few. It's probably been a bunch of them. But yeah, I think there will at least be like 10 languages for the next 100 years. That's my guess. All right, so then this should say garbage slime perks. This should say fishing perks, farming perks. Come on, put that back. Fishing perks, farming perks. Then enchanter and treasure. Yep. And yep. Cool. Is there a standard language code for Gen Alpha yet? Yeah, kids that can start up that transaction or that translation. Oh man, transmitting thoughts on one another. I remember a decade ago, I was at a job and someone brought in a brain to computer interface. And we all kind of marveled as he plugged it in and tried doing something and it like failed miserably. But maybe they're better now. Hey, Reptar. Why wouldn't you just do tr messages.get whatever? So this messages.get whatever doesn't really have much of a purpose anymore. But the bigger answer for that is because there's a tool that we're using called get text or xget text. And what it does, hang on one second. Hang on. Okay, sorry about that. What it does is it scans the code base for certain method calls and then literal strings within. So it'll find this, but it won't find this. Or like greeting or something like that. So we have to have a literal string inside of it for it to be identified as a translatable string. And then all of those get put into a translation file here. So as an example, like basic attack needed to exist as a literal string. And if we had referred to it by messages.get, then we need to have a call to translate somewhere that has that. Now, you could still accomplish this. You could put something here like tr. But at this point, you're not really gaining anything because our source generator is making a function that returns a translated string that we're just deleting the source generators anyway. Like there's just no real benefit. I guess the benefit would be that you wouldn't have to change as much code because you could just wrap all of the strings that are already here with tr. But then we'd have two different ways of doing things in the code because I don't want to keep doing things in this method. And it's hard for me to know what percentage of the code base we've already converted. So just to kind of sum up here, we've probably, let's just say we've changed like 30% of the code uses source generators. So for ease, we could have translated the calls within the generators, but then the other 70% would look different because we're not going to use source generators for those. It's the thought that counts. I realize we're working on a tool that it matters less how it looks and more on does it work consistently. Well, especially hardware interface tools. Like imagine if you had a keyboard and 1 out of every 10 times it typed the wrong letter. It wasn't even your fingers. It was just like, it just typed the wrong letter. You type out different and there's a Q here or something like that. And you wouldn't want to use that device, right? Programmed by voice and by using his feet. I remember him say his bang all the time. Man, I think it'd be interesting to try to come up with what is the best input method if you had that as a condition or any condition that was special, but I wouldn't want to come up with it ahead of time. Have you changed any case where the same message is used in multiple places? What are you doing there? For that, I think I'm gonna eventually put some like static string somewhere and translate it, but it just won't be via a source generator. So it'll probably look very similar to this or to NPC names, but I haven't really done it yet. But yeah, I imagine we're gonna have something here that yeah, it's just a public class and we just have a bunch of strings that get translated. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I know what you mean. I think there are a couple of camps of people talking about AI, and it's sort of hard. You sort of need to know what camp somebody's in to be able to contextualize what they're saying. There's some camp that says like AI will be our doom. And this is, camp A, let's say, and camp B is like AI is great. And then there's a whole other bunch of camps, whatever, a whole bunch of them. And the people who think like AI is our downfall, they're going to look at almost every aspect of AI as being bad. The people who look at it as being great are looking at what it probably will be able to do years from now, and so on and so forth, right? Some people are like realistic about it and are going to be in a certain camp. So I'm at least of the mindset that AI is already doing useful things. And in my mind, at least, it's hard to refute that. And also weirdly, I didn't mention this, but I was on vacation the last couple of weeks. I was on a train in Boston, and then I was in a coffee shop in a random town. And I think there was maybe a third example. And in each case, I saw like a young person, maybe like 15 years old. They had a laptop open and ChatGPT was taking up at least half the screen. And I thought that was actually really interesting to me because it was so easily discernible. It's not like I was staring at them using their computer, but it was so discernible that just on their screen was OpenAI, ChatGPT. I don't know what they were doing. I didn't look that closely. I didn't ask them about it. But it's like, okay, people are clearly using it. It must be providing them some benefit or some perceived benefit. New England has fallen. The machines took over. It was that very day. All right, something weird happened here. I'm going to try rebuilding all this. Maybe doing useful things, but at what cost? Yeah, so that's another camp, which is like, okay, AI may be helpful, but what is it doing to humanity or what is it doing to the environment? Oh, God, what's happening here? Uh-oh. Whoops. Okay, so apparently there were some descriptions here that I needed. All right, well, let's... Oh, wait, no, there are only a few of these. Oh, okay. So then I guess we can change these. Teaching kids to use ChatGPT? Huh. It's actually pretty interesting. I'm in the camp where you need responsible use of technology and it's impossible with capitalism. I don't know if it's possible with anything, is it? I mean, if you put a tool in the hands of the people, it doesn't matter if there's a monetary incentive carved out by a market. It's like people are incentivized to defraud credit card companies. Whether or not capitalism exists, that'll just be a thing. Or banks, they're incentivized to rob banks. There's also a strong disincentive in the form of punishment or disciplinary action. But yeah, I don't know if capitalism's affecting that. I'm not saying capitalism's great in every regard. I'm just saying I think if you had AI, that there'd still be irresponsible use of it, almost no matter what. You think there's credence to the fact that our generation is one that is young enough to adapt to AI, but old enough such that we built a worldview of sans AI to litmus test AI outputs, and that will be a detriment to the younger demographic who grew up using AI? I'm not sure, but I think that it'll be sort of proven by just screen time in general. And I think this experiment has been going on for a little bit longer. So there are kids now who had like an iPad from early on. And now those kids, like when was the first iPad? Yeah, 15 years ago. So imagine a kid who was 3 when this came out. They're now 18. So a kid who used an iPad at 3 years old, the very first iPad, is now an adult. Like whatever is happening to that person is probably what's also going to happen with AI and the next generation. I say that person, but it's a whole cohort of people. So can they adapt? Do they have the same social skills? Anything else? Whatever other concerns or hypotheses you might have, I think it's going to be the same sort of thing with AI. Anyway, my personal take is that I think there is a strong argument to be made about learn something first and like then automate it. And this is generally how people use computers nowadays if they're coding. So yeah, the learn something first is pretty important. So imagine, I don't know if there's been an experiment for this sort of thing in the world before, but imagine just your basic operations like plus, minus, times, and divided by. Imagine if we did not teach a kid how to do these and we just said, here's a calculator. When your homework says do plus, just type in 4 plus 5 into your calculator and it spits out an answer and use that answer. I don't know if anyone's ever tried that before where they've been like, we're just not even going to teach you basic math. But would that person still be able to learn math that builds on basic math, which is pretty much all math? Like, would they learn geometry as well? Would they learn other things? Like, what level could you take this to where you gloss over a bunch of information and they're still functional human beings at the end? I have no idea. I'm just throwing ideas out there. Let me see. People's brains were already fragile enough before we started offloading thinking as a whole. Yeah. I am a little bit concerned about this. Also, I think one of the other things I'm kind of realizing is it's a combination of two things, and I'm like opening up 7 different topics now and not even closing any of them, but 2 things here. One is I think critical thinking skills aren't always great, and 2 is that somewhere in people's 20s, I think they stop wanting to change. Like if you just take an average, let's say 30-year-old person, they're probably going to be largely the same the rest of their lives. So if your critical thinking skills weren't great and you're like 27, you're probably not going to be like, I need to improve these. You're probably just, that's it. That's probably who you are the rest of your life. I'm not saying you can't change. I'm just saying most people won't. So now, yeah, imagine if you're using AI and you're whatever, 22 or something, and you're like, wow, this is great. You might just lean on that the rest of your life. Anyway, let me see. Hey, Kevin, please. And hey, Taco. It's shocking to see that, but also I think ChatGPT usage in programming is like Stack Overflow with steroids. The more you delegate your brain thoughts to AI, the more you get dependent on it. But again, it happened also with Stack Overflow. Yeah, and I think at least with tech, it all comes down to what is your goal? And if your goal is to learn, then I think you're doing yourself a disservice. But if your goal is to get a task done, then it could potentially be good. It's like, I don't know how many times I've searched for sort a Python array. It's not like it's hard to do. It's not like I couldn't have written notes on it, but it's just so much faster and reliable to do this and get the result than it is to just go like figure it out for myself or look through documentation. Yeah. All right, sorry, I'm gonna scroll through chat pretty quickly. Went back to touch. Oh man. Maybe on a Chromebook is better, but I've tried Minecraft with touch on my phone and it's just too small. I can't do it. But the phone screen is much smaller than any Chromebook screen would be, so it's probably easier on a Chromebook. Gave us an overview during one of his lectures on what they expect from us when writing our master's thesis. We'd be stupid not to use AI. It's essentially expected. Yeah. Things are changing. Amount of kids playing Roblox was a bit strange. It's sort of funny to me that they'd be doing it at the public library. Like, I could understand this maybe 20 years ago. I understand it now too, but I could understand it more 20 years ago when computers were very expensive compared to what they could do. So you might have like a $700 computer that you do all of your family computing on. But nowadays it feels like you get a cheapo laptop and play Roblox, although maybe that's not true. I don't know what Roblox requirements actually are. But I downloaded it on my phone at some point, and probably every kid has a phone at this point. Who knows? Yeah. How about RPN? I don't know what RPN is. Risk priority number? I'm not sure if this is what you meant, but I'd have to know what this stands for and what the context was at that point too. Real old dog is confirmed 30. No, but have you realized this in your own life? Have you talked to people who are, I don't know, if you're 30 years old, then you must have known people who were 10 when you were 10 and 15 when you were 15 and so on and so forth, such that you saw people learning and growing. And then at some point that just kind of stopped. I'm not necessarily saying it's definitely in your 20s or definitely in your 30s, but the average like 20 something year old person doesn't seem like they want to grow anymore. I know it's a broad generalization, but it just kind of seemed that way, at least in my life. Yeah. A very concentrated distribution around 30 seems correct. Yeah. Also, this is what Kevin was asking about earlier, but we're running into this problem now where we used to have a bunch of messages in here and now they're all over the place. So we do need some common messages, but they would just be a static class of strings. And I need to put them somewhere. And unfortunately, I have like a billion tabs open at this point, so it's really hard to find where this problem is. But let's start with warehouse sign and whatever that function is, building functions. Okay, so let's close that and go to building functions over here. So I want to put this all in one spot. I guess we can put it in buildings. So I'll make a new file over here and we'll call this, or maybe I should, no, you know what? I should put it into just like internationalization. And we should, oh, we have a messages thing here. Oh, wow. We already have this. Okay. Let's just add a new one here. We'll call it building info or building strings. Yeah. There. And then we'll just copy this into building strings. All right. So this is going to be called building strings. We don't need it to be partial. We don't need this. We don't need this. We do need translate though. So using static translation server. And then we delete everything in here. And then we just populate it with whatever we need. Yeah. Reverse Polish notation, stack-based calculators. Okay, I understand now, but what's the how about? Like, would that change my mind? I only had a half-formed thought earlier, which is like, what if you didn't teach a kid how the basic operations work and just gave them a calculator? All right, so we got to change all of this stuff. This is build warehouse. Should probably look like what it used to look like. What you call translate directly from a string, public static class string extensions. So the problem, Taco, with using an extension for this is we're using xgetText to find the strings that we translate. And the way it works with C# at least out of the box is that you need to have a method name and then a string literal. So if we did anything else, it won't find it. So if we did string literal.tr, it won't find it for us. Now, we could just not use xget text. Maybe there's some other thing we can do, but it's just at least the quickest way for now. So yeah, that's what I'm doing for this. No background knowledge of how it works. Most people don't even know a single coding language. But I guess what I'm getting at is, did a computer, up until AI, did it replace what people were doing in school? Like a calculator can do something like 5 times 6, and you wouldn't need to know how multiplication works. You wouldn't need to be able to produce this yourself. Or as a better example, maybe like something like this, where people would typically write it out by hand and like carry numbers. And so a computer would have to somehow bypass what people are doing. I guess with certain websites you could. If you go on Wikipedia and you look up the plot synopsis of a book that you read. Yeah, I guess it's probably pretty similar. I had some basics, but it was very, very trim. Closer to unschooling than homeschool. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. And I guess in that case, the computer isn't really, it's not that it's a computer that matters. It's just that it's every book you could possibly want combined into one. So like SparkNotes, for example, you could have had a book of SparkNotes. It's not that it was a computer that mattered. If someone had just been like, okay, here's all the cheat sheets, you could use those cheat sheets. But I think with AI, it's like there's no book equivalent of AI. There's a human equivalent of AI, like going to a librarian and saying, tell me this knowledge. I guess that's kind of the delineation there, although this is all fuzzy because I never really stated a hypothesis. Naturally, I want to learn the basics of math in addition to multiplication. Hey, gaming is a good motivator for people. Whether it's, yeah, dexterity, pattern matching, just comprehension, memory. All right, what I was saying I wanted to do is come up with the same names of these. So get build warehouse, and then warehouse name and everything else. Let's just get the diff of this file, warehouse sign, and copy these things, I guess. So these can't be constant strings. They need to be static read-only strings. So every private const is actually public static read-only string. And we'd be translating all of these as soon as you start up the game. Oh, we can't do it that way. Translate. Yeah. This I don't trust that it got it correct, so I'm gonna just type it out. Then the rest of these should be fine. Let's just write Delta more as your warehouse storage. Yeah. Well, this is one of those things that I always kind of find interesting. There is a class of problems that are verifiable. So let's say you ask AI like x plus 2 equals 7. What is x? AI can give you a random answer. It could say like x is 789. But at the end of the day, you can plug in 789 plus 2, and when you realize, oh, that's not 7, then you know that it's wrong. And there's a ton of these sorts of cases where you can ask it something that's hard for you to figure out, but very easy to verify. So I think the no confidence that it's good, for some class of problems, yes, there is no confidence. But for another entire class of problems, it's like you could just check it. All right, so this now should be replaced with building strings. Building strings dot. Won't this be a problem? I wonder. Building strings doesn't exist, yeah. I think if you, how much, okay, here's the issue. How much do we want to support you being able to change languages at runtime? Because if we do want to support it, then all these things would turn into functions. And if we want to support it, then we just do this and change the equals signs to that. and then call this. Oh, wait, we don't need to call it because it's a property. Interesting. If you don't know how to verify it's scary. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And this thing about there being a class of problems that are verifiable, I mean, they're both probably uncountably infinite numbers of problems, but the non-verifiable ones are probably the larger infinite. But still, I think it's kind of interesting that there are some things you could ask it to do and then just check it, and it's like, okay, solve my problem. All right, so what is this thing? This is the warehouse name, and we're going to use this everywhere. Building strings.warehouse name. And this exists there and there. And then this allows you to store stuff as the description. And then upgrade. Oh, God. How does this work? This needs to be a 0. This won't work. Yeah, this won't work. Cache a composite format for repeated use in this formatting operation. What is that? Static format string that hasn't been cached to a composite format instance. This rule locates places in your code where you can cache and use a composite format instance as the argument, and then passing in the original format string. Okay, I get it, but we're going to have a problem with doing something like this, which is that there's no way to verify that the number of arguments here matches this. I wonder if we can figure out that this was a call to translate. No. Maybe these are things enough to get an opinion on this count. I don't know either, but there was a bot on Reddit way back in the day when I was reading Reddit pretty regularly that was called like Summary Bot or something like that. And I think this was an algorithm that was used, and it seemed like it was pretty good. And that was before LLM sorts of summaries. So I wonder if it's gotten better or worse, or people still use whatever the old way was of doing this. But like I said, it seemed like it was pretty good. Yeah. Hey, Visitronic, I'm doing pretty well. Oh yeah, so here's the problem with this. We have an analyzer that tells us whether this matches the number of parameters that we passed in, and that will only work if it's a literal string that shows up there with translate. So I guess the question is, do we use this anywhere else? Do we use the description? We do use the description. Wait, no, that's not right, is it? No, that's just the regular description. Upgrade warehouse description, do we use that anywhere? What was that called? Upgrade warehouse, upgrade. No, we don't. Okay, so then that should be fine. So I don't think we need this to be over there. We can just put this in the code. And then this can be a TR call. And then what's upgrade menu text? Like these should just be strings with no formatting in them. Elements should be separated by a blank line. Sure, whatever. Comment was specifically about LLM summarizing. Other approaches may differ vastly. Yeah, I haven't tried it enough to know. What I would really, really like, and maybe this is possible, and this isn't even totally related to what we're talking about, but I have an Android phone, and every once in a while I open a page in Chrome and I'm doing the dishes or something. I want my phone to read the page to me or summarize it. Is this possible? Could I just ask Gemini to do it? I haven't looked into this. Like I said, it's only vaguely related. I mean, it has to do with summarizing. But yeah, I can't touch the phone because my hands are wet. But yeah, that would be nice. All right, so I think this is how we want all of this to look. And I'll just write a note. Formatted strings don't really belong here. Since cref equals string format analyzer. Can we press F12 on this? No. How do we find that? Analyzer.cs? Can you, how do you, okay, I'm going to figure out how to link to this. It's this dot that. And now F12 works. Good. Okay, since this only picks up calls to string.format, which directly include a translate call. Does that work? That works. That works. Yeah. So if we wanted to do this, I think what we'd have is a function that takes in, okay, so basically like the source generator, a function that takes in our parameter. But most of the time, if we're formatting something, we are only using it in one spot in the code base. And I think that's a big difference there. It's only if we reuse it. So we'd be selectively making these function calls. Just trying to think. Yeah. Doesn't have to do with the topic, but I would suggest use Firefox or Brave on phone. Firefox is better because you can install ad blocker like you would on desktop browser. Oh, I use Pi-hole. It's a DNS level ad blocker, and it works on every device on my Wi-Fi. So yeah, I don't really need anything special. Doesn't it have a built-in format string? TR doesn't, no. You have to use the languages formatting for it. By the way, Kevin, I don't know if you saw this that I showed the other day, but this is actually really interesting. If I go to localhost 80 here and click something over here. So let's say we have a string. Yeah, here we go. So let's say we have a string like this. The English is erratically shoots at a single enemy, and we have a 0 parameter and 1 parameter. If I add in a 2 parameter and then try to save this, it actually says it mismatched how many parameters we have. So this can actually detect that we have the wrong number of parameters. And if I save it again, now there's no error. But it wouldn't have worked if we had used, let's say, like damage as a thing here. So anyway, just kind of interesting, because that's another tiny thing, which I know we could have changed the source generator to use. But yeah. Raspberry that are available here are 100 or more. Oh, I'm not using it on a Raspberry Pi. You can just use it on any computer. You just need to leave the computer running all the time. Because I already had a mini PC. Anyway, the ad's about to start. I'm going to try to time my breaks with it. So it is break time. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hello again, everybody. That was very close. Everyone was kind of jumping together there. And then Matt yeeted himself off the edge. Close the game. All right, we gotta finish fixing all of these little problems. Won't these be fun? I remain undefeated today. Yeah, and that's probably the last time that'll get played today. I will almost certainly end the stream in another hour, I think. Okay, so let's just keep trying to build this stuff. Actually, we don't need to try to build this stuff. We can change this here, right? Building strings, warehouse name, and then warehouse description. So we need them for all of these too. Ugh. I was ad nerfed. Yeah. I'm gonna try to take breaks during the ads. I just want to. First of all, I should be taking breaks. That's just full stop. That should happen. And if I'm going to take breaks, they should be timed with when nothing is happening on the stream. Or, well, that didn't make any sense. Sorry, when people who are not subscribed can't see what's happening on the stream. All right, what is this? Oh, this is finding errors in non-code. So the only errors we have are in that one file. And then apparently here. Converting. I guess this would be a question mark. Let's just not fix that for now so I don't forget what I'm doing. Inaccessible due to its protection level. There's no messages thing anymore. And apparently generatability had something. So this description was used twice. Just whenever you keep your problems list. I don't have any problems anymore. All right, so this thing needs to be used in 2 different locations. I guess all generated abilities probably have this, but why? Yeah, why indeed? I gotta fix building functions. Then you can play on your whole stream while you work. It'd be kind of interesting if you could jump onto the words that are here. Like it made physics objects out of them. All right, so tooltip for unlocked perk. Never coded the tooltip for this generated ability. Where does this get used? Here. So we pass this in for what reason? Why don't we just override this? Especially if it's used in 2 different spots. Although actually, if it's always get ability description tooltip, why do we even pass it into the parent at all? There's got to be a reason why we don't do it that way. Oh man. All right, let's look at auto fishing. Maybe that'll make something clear to us. Description for unlocked perk. Automatically catches a fish directly from the pond every so often. Frequencies based on how many town perks you've chosen so far. Oh, this is different. I think they're different strings. I don't think this is correct. Oh, or maybe just in this case, they happen to be the same. Garbage slime eats from warehouse. I want to find this. Garbage slime eats from warehouse. Get description, get description. Yeah, we only needed 1 in this case. So could we call get ability description? No, you can't. I wonder if I should just change this back to what it used to be. Yeah, probably for now, so that I can just do this later. Okay, well, too bad. All right, so that gets rid of that. And now we have one more problem we gotta go solve, which is all of the, did that do anything? Which is all of the building sign stuff. That would be happening. We need some sort of like web interface for playing. And then people would probably just be like, well, this is, I think, the problem with any long standing stream game or thing that happens. It just turns into spam for a lot of people. I've always actually been annoyed by it in other people's streams. And I think especially the ones where you're catching Pokemon in chat. I just never understood that. And it's only like 5 people in a given chat who care about it. And it's just spamming messages all the time. Maybe it's just to give the illusion of activity. Maybe that's the real reason why people care about it. All right, so Recycler Sign used to have these things and now it doesn't. Hey, Red Chat. Well, Red Chat is a fake thing. There's no like persistent, you caught this Pokemon and you raise them or you train them. The thing I'm thinking of is like, you caught a Charmander and then you get in battles and you level them up and stuff. And yeah. DM their commands. No one will ever know you've done anything. They'll see a character jumping and be like, they're cheating. All right, so summon garbage line. So I'm just going to close every other tab. Yeah, I think it's just easier at this point. Because I can't deal with 150 tabs. Then we go to building strings and we put them all here. So this is going to be public static string build recycler is summon garbage slime. Then recycler name is garbage slime. This is recycler description. And do we have anything else? I guess there's no upgrading it, so it's just those. So now what we do is we use building strings dot build name description name. Yeah, perfect. Now what did I mess up? Extra comma. Okay. Wanted a boring stream day. I didn't want a boring stream day, just to be clear. I want to have interesting things to do, and we just have a task that needs to be done. But like I said, I think this is going to be the last time I do this on stream because of how boring it is. So I'll, whatever, put on a Netflix video or something. I don't know. Just do this off stream. All right, what is the last place we got to do this stuff? Building signs. I forgot what it's called. Yeah, I don't remember what it's called. There it is. Building functions. Okay, so now we can change this to building strings dot recycler name and recycler description. Cool. And we have what, 1, 2, 3 more of these? And then these I never even translated to begin with. How did I not have a problem with that? Isn't there a chef slime sign? Oh no, there isn't, because you build it from something else. But there's a treasure room sign. Build treasure room allows you to open and find treasure chests. Oh, they say different things. I wonder if that's a problem. That says a different thing too. Huh. All right, well, let's do the easy ones. Farm sign. There's an idea I've always thought about, which is there are assembly lines out there that are like super boring jobs. Like imagine if it's, I don't know, like putting a widget into a box or something, and you do that for 8 hours a day. And these jobs generally don't pay a lot, but I honestly wonder if they did pay a lot, how many people would do them? Like for $500 per hour, would you put a widget into a box for 8 hours a day? So you're getting paid $4,000 per day. And I guess it's not like, would you do this? It's how many days would you do this for? And if not, if your answer is 0, what number would this have to be for you to say yes and do it for more than 0 days? And part of the reason I think about that is I think there's a category of people out there who are just fine with this. Like this is not a problem for them. They want to shut their brains off and just do something mindless. So this is not a chore necessarily. But for the people who don't fall into that category, could you get to the point, could you sort of treat it like meditation and make it not feel like a chore? And in essence, can I apply that to this and be like, oh yeah, I love changing strings. I'm going to change strings for 10 hours a day. So who knows? Farm description, farm name. It's just farm. And the description is this. And then there is build farm as a thing too, right? There we go. 500 an hour is about $1 million a typical salary. Yeah. I'm specifically picking a high number because I think people would do it for some number of days if they're like, oh, this is just a better amount of money than my job is. But how many days would that be? Like, would you work until you get $10 million? Would you work for the rest of your life? Would you work for 5 days and be like, I'm sick of this? 365 until I can retire. I'm enjoying my serial hobbies. You think you could make it 365 days? Do you think you can put a widget in a box every single, whatever it takes, 12 seconds, every 12 seconds for like 8 hours? You get a lunch break. It's not, cruel and unusual punishment. It's just a job. But I don't know. I think I'd go crazy. I'd go crazy. I think I need to get into a headspace where I'm like, this is a worthwhile thing to be doing with my life. It'd be like pressure washing and or mowing the lawn. I could do it. Hey, web dev guy. I don't know if it is like pressure washing or mowing the lawn. When you pressure wash or mow the lawn, you essentially have a progress bar in front of you. When you're mowing the lawn, it's like you can see, it's almost like a literal progress bar. You see yourself mowing the progress into your lawn. And with pressure washing, it's the same thing. It's like you can see how much dirt remains and how much you've gotten done with. There's something satisfying about removing the dirt. But with putting a widget into a box, it's like there's nothing interesting about that. There's no progress to it. There's an infinite number of widgets and boxes. You can know how many you've done, but it doesn't mean you have fewer left to do. What makes it so some of us can really get into anything we're doing? Yeah, I think that's the secret. And I don't know what it is. But there are times when I've been at a job in the past and I'm like, what function is this serving for me? Am I learning? Is it paying more than other jobs would pay? Excuse me. And sometimes I come to the conclusion that it's not doing anything for me, and then I get like very fed up with being there. And it's not great. All right, I should be able to come up with the rest of these. Farm name, farm description, farm name. Yep. Let me put these same things into here. Farm name and farm description. Cool. We just keep doing this. One of those tasks let me shut my brain off. Not sure how long I'd last, but I give it a shot. I think if I could add something on top of it, so if I could listen to an audiobook or something, then I think it'd probably be more reasonable. But actually, I have this same problem in my real life. Like, ironing is not interesting to me, and it takes me a very long time to iron shirts. So I need something else to do during that time. And the best thing that I've found is to just talk to people, because then I am taking my mind off of the task. And I read Atomic Habits. I should reread this, or at least my notes on it. But they basically say if there's a task you don't want to do, try to make it more enjoyable. And it makes sense, right? Like, you don't want to do work necessarily, so you try to find ways to make it less like work. And yeah, I think putting a widget in a box for 8 hours a day would be kind of crazy. All right, so let's put these over here. Can it get what I want from this? Pond or build pond. And then pond name, and then pond description. Allows you to catch fish that can level up your adventures. Cool. Now we plug those into here. It should know what I want to do. Yeah, perfect. Well, we're getting somewhere. But yeah, imagine me doing this off stream for like another 30 hours. And then feel pity for me, please. That's what I want. I want everyone's pity. I want you to be like, man, that guy could be doing so much more with his life, but he's writing out strings in a code base. You can always be better at putting that widget in the box. You can also view it as meditation practice. Okay, so I disagree with the first part of that. I don't think you could be better at it. I think you get to a point where you're moving pretty much as fast as you can. We're not talking about skilled labor here. Like, there's only so much you could do. But I know what you're saying. It's about the mentality of finding a way to make it interesting for yourself. So if there is a means for improvement, then yes, improve. Study all day and people think that's insane. Professional gamers play all day. To older generations, that would seem absurd. Yeah, but the studying at least implies you're learning something new. The playing implies that you are either having fun or you're competing. Those are activities that I think people can naturally find enjoyable. And that's not to say people can't naturally find meditation enjoyable. And that's essentially what you'd have to look at that as for it to be interesting to you. But yeah, I wonder if the average person can put up with that. Build enchanter, build enchanter's den, enchanter name, and enchanter description. Cool. All right, now we plug these things in, building strings, build name. I'm glad the AI is helping with this stuff. It is shaving a lot of time off of this. This is wrong though. This needs to be build enchanter. Okay. So I think I fixed all the issues and I can finally run the game. Oh, I like that what if series. I've been going through a few of those videos. Your job is mentally not stimulating, so you're fresh and ready for side projects and hobbies. Yeah, I wonder, that's the kind of thing I think is also part of this equation. If you're doing mindless work, you can still be tired at the end of it. And I think different tasks can take different mental tolls on people. And it all comes down to how you look at it. I guess a good example for myself is airplane travel. I look at it as sky prison. Like, I just don't like it. So anything that would have been fun on the ground is now not fun in the air. Like, I watch a movie or I play a game because it passes the time, but I'm not enjoying it. And it's like, I feel like I have to do it because I'm on an airplane. And because it'd be otherwise boring to just sit there facing forward. Yeah, this worked. Nice. Yeah, that Randall Monroe. At some point, I'm going to need to look through every single string in the game again and just make sure that there are no typos and no anything else. I don't know. Just that things make sense where they are. Like all these tabs are correct. That when you build something, it's got the right text over here. And that the tabs here too are correct and all the perks and everything else. It's at least there's a YouTube series on it. What if XKCD? Let me mute this. Yeah, so let me show you what some of the videos are just at a glance here. Like, can you drive west to lengthen the sunset? Could we survive eating only humans? What if the moon were made entirely of electrons? A lot of these are pretty interesting questions that have no impact on your real life. And he does a really good job at explaining it and making it entertaining. And if you just sort by popular, you'll see like they have millions of views. So yeah, I'll link this in. I think this is pretty good. Okay, so we got it to build. I probably lost my search results. Yeah, I did. That's a shame. I mean, I can press enter and it'll find them, but there were a bunch of them. Yeah, there were a bunch I wanted to ignore. I guess it's all the ones that are yellow, right? So I should just find the first non-yellow one, like this. I don't have the patience to keep working through this stuff. I found that the studying I do for school is not mentally stimulating. Feels like going through the motion. There's other things that wake up my mind. Active thinking feels less effortful and more natural. Yeah, I think it all depends on the topic. Hey, no handle. Mouse usage spotted. I still use the mouse. Although I don't know if you've seen my mouse. It's basically a keyboard. It has 12 buttons on the side. So there's quite a lot I can do from the mouse. that makes it look like I'm using a keyboard. All right, machine name. I wonder if this is used anywhere else. No, wait, that wouldn't have to search for it. Get machine name would have. These are all inside of messages. Yeah. I'm going to ignore this for now. I am going to need to do so much work. Even worse, mobile player. I've actually never played a MOBA, at least not a standalone MOBA. I probably played Dota back when it was in Warcraft 3. But I specifically avoid MOBAs because I'm worried I'd get addicted to them. All right, key storage is full and key storage can only hold this. Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. So what should this say? The key storage is full. And here can only hold the keys. Cool. That one's done. Where's the next one? This was, oh, it got deleted. I see. A treasure chest can only accept keys. A treasure chest can only accept keys. And this one is, treasure chest is already openable. Is that correct? This treasure chest is already openable. Cool, done with that one. If I may ask, why do you need that many side buttons? I don't really need them, but they do a whole lot of different things. So I've given this demo a lot of times, but just from the mouse, I can move windows around. So left or right of the screen or maximize it. I can go between different tabs that I have open. I can page up and page down. I can use the arrow keys to go up, left, down, right. I can actually press delete, backspace, space, enter. Tab is on here too. I have home and end for going to the beginning and end of lines. And I have other little things here, like let's say this, I gotta do something like this. So let's say I want to close a window. I can press close window from here, but then I can also say don't save right from the mouse. So I can close even that dialog right from the mouse. So it's like all the common things that I do are on the mouse. And that way, yeah, like browsing is a cinch. I can just go between tabs, press page up and page down from here, then close this tab and I'm done with it, go between the rest of these. It's all pretty natural. All right, so this is a treasure stand can only accept treasure chests. A treasure stand can only accept treasure chests, and this treasure stand is already occupied. That's not what that's supposed to say. Each stand can only hold one treasure chest. I think that's better. Isn't it faster doing it with the keyboard? Yeah, but sometimes your hand is on the mouse. I think a good example of this is like, I'm just casually browsing the internet. Like I'm scrolling through YouTube or something. I'm probably going to use the mouse for that. One of the things that I've never found more natural with the keyboard is scrolling. Like I have a scroll key on my keyboard. It actually does what the mouse would have done, but it's not as natural as like physically scrolling a wheel down. So I like anything that involves scrolling, usually using the mouse. I use Vimium. Yeah, I know there are ways of still using the keyboard in non-keyboard environments or non-keyboard heavy environments. But still, it's just, I don't know, it's just a comfort or feel thing in those cases. And then some things are just difficult with the mouse. Like let's say you're doing, I don't know, any sort of like drawing. Like I can use my keyboard to move the mouse around, but I don't want to draw like that. Like if I want to just circle something, which I didn't even circle something apparently. What is going on? How do you draw? Okay, I don't know how to do this. Oh, there we go. You can't right click in GIMP. Yeah, anyway, if I wanted to draw a circle around something, like I'm not going to use a keyboard for that. All right, where we leave off of this. These three. The treasure room can only accept treasure chests. Nope, that already had the quotes there. Yeah, I'm going to do it this way. I think it's easier. I don't need to validate this. There. And then no openable chest. That's that. TR. Got it. Okay, delete all that stuff now. Just using Etch-a-Sketch. There are people who can do amazing things with Etch-a-Sketches. I can't draw to begin with, but I definitely couldn't draw in an Etch-a-Sketch. Defeat the next elite enemy to increase the maximum. I think I looked at this and this is being used somewhere. Yeah. Fighting adventurers. This needs to be formatted and stuff. Oh man, there are a lot of little puzzles to solve here. I should probably have all of this finished by the end of November, just so that people can start translating. And so I can get some feedback on those translations. Like even this is a little bit difficult. It says in the Adventurers tab, I should probably format this to just automatically pull in the localized name of this tab. Yeah, so I'm not going to do anything about that yet. Well, let's change this one. TR that. Need to replace my WYSIWYG with an Etch-a-Sketch plugin by April 1st. That's a pretty good idea. I'm all for it. All right, so none. This is a single question mark? I thought we used 3 question marks. Maybe it's the... No, why is this a single question mark? I don't think I understand. I need this and I need this right there. And I need some items. And I click this. Wait, 3 question marks show above the menu. Where? What am I even looking at? Action labels? Send to shop, send to warehouse. That's weird. Where is this used? Oh, it's not. I was looking at the wrong none. Oh, okay. Well, then there we go. Game compiles on ARM. It compiles on whatever Godot supports. So I'm on a Mac that uses Apple's Silicon. It builds here, Windows, Linux. And if Godot supports ARM processors, then it builds to those too. But I don't actually know. Forgot to switch the keyboard. Ignore that CMD. I will not ignore it. So wait a second. The 3 question marks, should we localize these? Or should every single language just show 3 question marks? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Let's hold off until we actually hear about it. Yeah, I think Apple Silicon is based on ARM, but I wasn't positive. I think all these systems on a chip, I just sort of I equate them with ARM. All right, so this action label is used, but these are cached at the beginning and probably need to be functions. And we only use this in one spot anyway. I think we're going to have a problem here. Field initializer cannot reference a non-static field, method, or property. Yeah, so these would really be strings or functions that return strings like that. And we need to call them differently. So warehouse, garbage, slime. And then what? Tavern and extractor? Yeah. And then this can't be static anymore. Field initializer cannot reference this. Because what, we have to do this inside the constructor? Probably, because otherwise TR won't exist. Oh boy. Used to think Macs are useless. I mean, useless is pretty bold. I think maybe like not worth the value because they were still computers. You can't really say a computer is useless, but yeah, maybe that you wouldn't want to buy it because of the price. Hey, Nuke. Want to let you know that you motivated me to try a split keyboard using it for a week already. It's a corn-based one. Format that you're using too. Can't get used to typing numbers inside another layer. Can you give advice? Thanks. So I think there are kind of two ways that people normally type numbers. One is in a row and the other is in a numpad. So what do you prefer? And then regardless, you don't need to answer that now necessarily, but a row would be they're all laid out, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 0. And the numpad way is that they're like this. Anyway, I like the numpad way. So my layer uses it as a numpad. And it's very natural to me now because it's like I press this key and now I have a numpad here. But if you like the row way, I mean, that's possible too. I actually even have half of a row set up so that I can type it with just my left hand if I wanted to. And then the other numbers are down here, I think. But anyway, the way that you're used to typing anything is kind of the same, which is remember that you have to type it and then think about what you do to type it. And then if you mess up, and this is the special part here, if you mess up, go back and retype it properly. So as an example, I actually mistyped retype in that case. So I should go back and type out the whole thing again. And that way I get practice with typing. So same thing with numbers. It's like if you type the wrong numbers, then try it again and be like, oh, that was supposed to be a 0. Usually the row, probably it's just a question of habit. My brain burps and I need to press extra buttons. Yeah, you will get used to it. It does take time. You've only had it for a week. I don't know how many numbers you typed in that time, but you were used to having dedicated keys for those numbers and now you don't. So yeah, consider trying the other way if you want maybe too. Like you said you like row, maybe numpad is actually decent. But then yeah, this stuff used to be expensive and really hot. Yeah, I think expensive for what you got. I could definitely agree with that. The really hot part, I don't know, because I never really had a Mac until now. And one of the big draws of getting this particular machine is it was practically silent. My old machine that I had, I was hearing the fan constantly, but fans have gotten better, or I don't know, something's gotten better because I got a new Windows machine and I don't hear it as much. But I definitely don't hear this one at all. Should be given an underscore. Button labels. Isn't this still going to be a problem though? It is. And I think the issue is we need this to be in a constructor. So I guess let's just go do that. I'll set this to null like that and not make that read only. And then in ready, we set these. This is kind of weird, but yeah, it works. Huh. And we use this a lot. We only use it there. I guess we could just have a switch case statement for it. Then we don't need a dictionary of buttons. Only exists to override it such that the input item can matter for the extractor. What? I think it's for certain destinations. E.g., some items go to the guild instead of a shop. Hey, Novan. Can I ask you something about encoding? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think I'm going to delete this. And I'll just put a switch case statement here. Or even a switch expression. Button labels. Yeah, so label equals... I always forget the syntax of this. It's like the switch comes second and then you do this stuff. Is that right? Wow. Switch expression does not handle some values. So yeah, I need to do this. Sure, whatever, string.empty. And that should do it. So now almost all of these can be deleted, I think. Yeah, I got to search for action labels dot. So we have 1, 2, 3 remaining. Is that it? Yeah. And that's send to key grinder, treasure chest, and guild. Key grinder, treasure chest, and guild. So these 3. And then just delete the rest. All right, and that is like so. And do those match? Key grinder, treasure chest, guild. Yeah, nice. Great. Man, so much to do. And these are the strings we already started localizing. There are a bunch of strings we didn't start localizing. TR, does this actually work? No, this has to be translate. And then we have to use static that. Wait. It's not source generators. It's Godot.translation server. And then delete this. Working with SAP and the system writes files in UTF-8 on our share. Afterward, a converter converts the file to ANSI. What's strange that Notepad++, for example, recognizes it as UTF-8. Even if I convert it to ANSI and reload the file, it's again recognizes that. I don't know what Notepad++ is doing. It might just recognize that it's just a bunch of characters that could be interpreted as UTF-8 and doing that to save on hassle from the user of it. So and by the way, I don't know exactly what your problem is. Is it that you require that it is treated as ANSI versus Unicode? Because you could just potentially change what Notepad++ is reading it as. I don't have Notepad++, so I can't show you that here, but I think there's a way in VS Code that you just like click something at the bottom to change. Yeah, here. I could change UTF-8 and change it to something else here. I require that it's treated as ANSI. Yeah, so Notepad++ probably has some equivalent of this. And alternatively, if it doesn't, you could just use VS Code or something. It's also free. But yeah, what I would probably search for is like Notepad++ treat file as ANSI and see what that shows up. How to force it in Notepad. This is regular Notepad, right? Yeah. Settings, preferences. Yeah, there's auto detect character encoding. You probably need to turn this off. Try some heuristics to guess the encoding, but it's often wrong. Often recommended you disable that. Yeah. So probably try that out and just see what happens. And it should maybe maintain the original setting. I'm not actually sure. This is something you'd basically have to look into. What does Notepad++ do for this? All right, where did we leave off? I guess there's still a bunch of these. Yeah, and good luck. Yeah. All right, well, there's still a few. I guess this I don't care about. What is this one doing? This is just controlled overlay background. Yeah, so we can just pass these in. Upgrades, I think is what we're calling it. And then unlocked perks. Cool. All right, what else? You've unlocked the next challenge mode scenario. TR that. Good. You've unlocked the next scenario and these perks. That's here. And then you've unlocked these perks. Selected the wrong thing. Where is that one? There it is. Cool. All right, we're getting there. We're so close to being done with the first pass of these things. You can see how tedious this whole thing has been. Oh, I was hoping it would fill it in for me. It doesn't. That's fine. Translate. Get armor shop message. You just found your first piece of armor. Build the armor shop to be able to sell it. Yeah. And then this is you just found your first weapon. Build the weapon shop to be able to sell it. Yeah. Okay, so there's a bunch of spell data here. Do we use this in multiple spots? No, this is just shopping spree. TR shopping spree. Oh, this is static data. Oh, man. Okay, we're going to need to change this to a get display name kind of thing. I'm not going to fix this for right now. I'll just write this down. All spell data. Where'd it go? And item data at some point too. Like I at least localized some of these things. All right, let's ignore that for now. What else do we have? Yeah, not going to do that one. I'll hold off on this. Yeah, we should probably make terms out of wisdom sludge. Probably make terms out of wisdom sludge. So that we can reference that one term everywhere. All right, I'm gonna run this again. And hopefully it works. I haven't finished everything. Yeah, this will be quite an undertaking. I have to look through every single string in the UI. I'm not going to do that now because we're going to need to do it again at some point. Yeah. Okay, so then the next thing we would have to do is run .NET format and get it to change all the using statements that we had. So .NET format. This should change a whole bunch of lines. In fact, before it runs, if we do get diff short stat, we see this number of changes, which I'm kind of surprised about the 1,307 insertions. Oh, but that's probably because of this file getting a whole bunch of insertions. Like if we didn't count this, it would probably be very, very much negative. Yeah, so this is what I expected. We should have like several hundred of these. And it should delete them all. Such that now when we run this again, well, we gotta wait for it to finish. Yeah. Okay, there. Now it's finished. Now we have even more deletions. And now, and I'm not gonna diff every single one of these files. There is no way. Although I should generate more of these, huh? This file is gonna get even larger. Yeah. And what are we up to in terms of like number of words we need to translate? I'm gonna get an approximate here again. Oh, that won't work. We need to get it from this. And I guess just from message IDs. All right. Again, just approximating what it is. This is not perfect by any means. Oops. All right, we got about 600 words. Probably more than that. Maybe it's like 700, something like that. Yeah, we're getting there. All right, but let's keep scrolling down and look at these other things. So I'm not going to look through all of this. I just want to take a glance at some of these. We should now be calling translate and deleting as much of these things as we can. Yeah. And some of them require formatting. So I wonder how I'm going to find all of the strings that remain to be translated. Because they're going to be scattered throughout the code base, and there's going to be no obvious indication that they're there. So rare I make it before the end of these short day streams. Yeah. Thanks for the resub, Sinistello. Happy 13 months. Yeah, you made it, and pretty much just in time, too. I think I'm going to wrap up this commit and then probably get going. Yeah, I'm not going to look through everything here. Okay, so start removing source generators. Rather than relying on the source generators, we now directly call translate and tr. I only did this for non-formatted strings so far, and even then I didn't get all of them. All right, commit that, sync that. Yeah, so how would I find this? I don't actually know how we would find this. I guess I could use xgetText and find every single string and try to use that to find the ones I didn't localize. Is that even easy? Another thing we can search for is just quotation marks. 20,000 results in 938 files. All right, files include star.cs. Let's start with that. Yeah, so now it's only 9,000 results. That's so much easier. Yeah, so many of these things aren't going to matter. Like this doesn't need to get localized, but this looks like it probably does. There's just a random period getting added here. Oh, this is an ellipsis. Maybe that one doesn't need to get localized. I don't know if every language uses ellipses. But yeah, this is probably how we'll try finding some of these things. Yeah, so here's a good example. This needs to get translated, and nothing is doing this right now. Although actually doing this in the future should just be putting translate on here. So when we find a mistake, getting it to be fixed is pretty simple. I guess in this case, we also need the translation server thing here. Yeah, so I need to look through every string like this. Wow, that's going to be tedious. Search for quotation marks in just star.cs files. I want to see what the process was like. I think it is going to be a lot of like, click this, go through, scroll through every file, make sure they're all wrapped in translate calls. And if they're not, then we have an issue. So like these are fine. This is all fine. This shouldn't be there. Yeah. And as I click these, we're going to get rid of like somewhere between 2 and 10 results. And I just had to go through every single one of them. The penalty for missing one of these is just that an English string will show where it should not show. And the translators won't know that. So someone who is French or Spanish will end up playing the game and be like, I don't know what this word is. And yeah, that's going to be a bug. And we'll have to fix it. So I only fixed one of these things. I guess we'll just say translate another string. I was just testing how I would find these in the future. And in this case, yeah. Cool. All right. Well, let's fill out the journal. It says finish script, but that took forever. Started removing source generators by replacing calls like messages.get foo with translate foo. Okay, so what I'm thinking of for tomorrow is, well, really, honestly, it's going to be identify what's the most important thing and then tackle that. And it might be this, reusing locations. At some point, we've got to add in the rest of the content for the game. I'm not even certain it's going to be hard to do that stuff. There are a couple of fixtures we need to add in order to add the rest of the content, like reusing locations. But then the new locations should just be bundles of other enemies. And new bosses and stuff. Huh. I don't think we're in bad shape. Yeah. Yeah, I think what I need to do, I think we should work toward finishing story mode. So fixtures like reusing locations, adding content and content, bosses and items, etc. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's it for today's stream. I am going to work on getting Weblate up and running this afternoon off stream. So I don't think I'm going to raid out today. Yeah, I'll just end the stream. Well, thank you all for watching. I'll be back tomorrow. It'll be a full day tomorrow. We'll be tackling this stuff, probably working toward new content. I've got my work cut out for myself. Hope you all have a good rest of your day, though. Take care. Thanks for being here. See ya.